If you don't know about Anthill, Anthill is an entrepreneurial business magazine that's definitely worth having a look at. You can look it up in all good newsagents. And lastly, I just wanted to introduce you all to James Tutton. He's the founder of Moonlight Cinema. At the moment, he's doing some interesting things in construction and all that sort of thing. So he's got an amazing story to tell, so please listen up and take note. So a massive round of applause, please, for Mr. James Hunt.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much, Luke. That was a kind introduction. It feels good to be in a medieval room. Very cold. I like that touch. So my kind of format for this afternoon is entirely unstructured. So what I'm going to do is kind of stand here and give you a bit of a mental dump in terms of my experiences as an entrepreneur, how I started a business, some of the factors which I think were critical to starting a business, and really just allow people to ask me questions. Ask me questions as I'm speaking, or we will obviously have a Q&A towards the end of it. So, I'm just going to launch into it and see where we go. So, Moonlight Cinema is a very, straightforward idea. It's a business which started, back in 1996. I was a university student. I was finishing a Bachelor of Arts in Philosophy, and I'm not sure if anyone here has studied philosophy, but it basically doesn't teach you to do anything in a practical sense. So, it was towards the end of a recession, and, I've got to tell you guys, you're going to learn what a recession is in the next 2 years, which will be very interesting as entrepreneurs. And, I basically, had a qualification, had an idea. I think my personality made me pretty much unemployable. I'm very bad at taking direction, so I thought, I don't have that many options, so I wrote a list of business ideas. I've been living in New York for about a year, working over there, and one of the things I saw over there was this concept of people watching films outdoors. So literally taking a huge outdoor screen, projector, charge people to come in, and that was my theory. So I went along to the Royal Botanic Gardens, who are very conservative group of people, lovely people, but very conservative, and I said to them, I'd like to, screen these films, and they kind of looked at me. I thought, is this kid serious? And yes, no, and they said come back to us in 6 weeks. So I thought, oh fuck, I've got no chance here. So I did all the research I could, decided that the best way to do it was try and charm them into it. So I organised this, lunch, got all this catering, and put on this huge spread where I pitched it to them and served them alcohol, and lo and behold, they. And one of my theories in business is that naivety is a great strength, and that was certainly the case for me back then. I launched into this thing with a lot of energy, not that much research, except I was just going to make it work by hell or high water, and that's a relevant point because sometimes you can sit there in front of an Excel spreadsheet and you look at this scenario, that scenario, and you can talk yourself in or out of anything, but whereas my approach back then was I was just going to push forward. So anyway, that I was 23 years old, I had this idea, I went to the Royal Botanic Gardens, getting the venue was critical, so they said, yep, okay, you can do it. So I, basically, thought, wow, that's interesting, now I've got this, what do I do? So I went and spoke to film companies, so Fox and, Roadshow Films and United International Pictures, and it's a bit of a closed industry, but they all agreed to give me film products, so I covered that base, and then I've got an ad agency, and they said they'd do the graphics, and I went to a television network, and they said they'd give me some airtime at a really inexpensive rate, and we just pushed forward and then, screened a film. And I think on the second night, we probably had about 2,000 people there on a beautiful Melbourne night watching a film. And at that point in time, I thought, right, this is probably going to work. Not definitely, just probably. And we pushed through that first season, got to the end of the season, didn't really know if we'd made any money. We had a lot of cash, but I had no idea how many people we had to pay. So it was, I remember, being, this, 23, it's kind of a kid. I remember, and I had 60 grand in my backpack, and I thought, right, this is interesting. I probably shouldn't be a mover.